Today we're going to talk about fractions and our favorite, subtraction. Up to this point, we've been doing a lot of addition. We've used some regrouping when we've done addition. We've used our mixed numbers. We've changed our improper fractions to mixed numbers. And this time, we're going to be switching over to subtraction. And I told you that one of my favorite things to do with fractions is to think about food. And in fact, this becomes one of my favorite parts about doing stuff with fractions is subtracting them, because that means you're eating the food. Obviously, this is not real food. So we're going to pretend, as we've done before. I highly encourage you to get a chance to do some fractions with real food. It makes it much more fun and much more delicious, obviously. But what we're going to do is start out with one basic subtraction problem, and then we're going to get into something a little bit more complicated, but not too complicated. So right here on this imaginary counter or plate or what have you, I have two whole things. You can see the two whole things right here and right here. Okay, I'm going to just write this down. I'm going to say I have two, and then I see that I have not a whole thing over here, that I've got some slices of, let's say maybe these are pizzas, right? So here's a little personal pizza, there's another little personal pizza, and then I've got three slices of another pizza. As you can see by the label, obviously, it's telling us that the size of these slices is eighths. So I'm going to write down 8 for my denominator. That's the size that I'm working with, the size of the pieces. And I've got 3 of them. So sitting on my plate right here is 2 3/8. 2 whole things and 3/8 of another. Now, subtraction really is just giving you directions. It's just telling you how much you're supposed to eat or take away or get rid of, right? And for this first one, I'm going to go ahead and do something simple. I'm going to take away 1, and I'm going to take away 1/8 or 1 slice. Okay, and apologize for the glare there. But 2 3/8 minus 1 1/8. This should be pretty simple, because when we do this, we're saying, okay, well, here's what we started with. Let's eat this. Okay, so if I were to eat this, I might take away this whole thing right here. And then I'm going to take away 1 slice from over here, 1/8. So I'm just going to take that away, okay? And then obviously with subtraction, I just write down what I have left. So after eating that, it was delicious, by the way, I'm left with 1 2/8. Okay, 1 2/8 is what I have left over on my plate. So that should be pretty simple, okay? All it is eating the things or getting rid of the things that are on the plate. Don't let these numerators, denominators scare you, because it's still just like when we were doing addition. We really only have to worry about this numerator, right? Remember, this is just telling us the size of the piece, okay? So for now, when this denominator is the same, right, we're subtracting eighths again, we don't have to even worry about that denominator. We just kind of ignore it, okay? All right, we're going to get into something just a little bit more complicated. All right, I've reset my board. I have 2 3/8 again. Okay, 2 3/8. Now, I'm going to take away 1 whole thing again. But this time, I'm going to take away 5/8. Okay, 1 5/8. Now, let's see how this works. Let's see if we notice something strange about this. So the first thing I'm going to do is what I did last time. I'm going to go ahead and eat this whole thing. Okay, so I see that I'm taking away 1 whole thing. I'm going to go ahead and eat that. Okay, so here's my whole pizza, and yum, 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 there it goes. Now, the next part that I have to take away, right? So I already did this, right? I already took away the 1. Okay, so I'm kind of done with this, right? I can kind of ignore that. I'm not going to cross it off just because I want you to make sure you know what we're doing still. But imagine that's not there anymore. We've already taken it away. Now we need to take away this amount. And it says to take away 5 slices. But when I look at my plate, I notice that I have 1, 2, 3 slices. But how in the world am I supposed to take away 5 if I only have 3 sitting here? And I want you to go ahead and pause the video for a second and see if you can think about what I just asked. See if you can answer that question. If I'm supposed to take away 5 slices, but I only have 3 slices right here, how in the world am I going to have 5 slices to take away? What would you do? All right. I can tell some of you really thought hard about that. And a lot of you said that, well, maybe we just need to cut this other piece, this other pizza up, right? So if we cut this other pizza, let's pull out our pizza cutter, right? So I'll pretend this is my pizza cutter and slice, 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 slice. And suddenly I now have my pizza is cut into 8 slices. And now, well, if I think about these as just eighths, I definitely have enough to take 5 of them away, right? So here's 3 that I'm going to take away. I'm going to eat all 3 of these. Yum. And now I need to eat 2 more slices. Well, here's a slice, and here's a slice, and I can go ahead and eat those, and I'm done. So even though I only had 3 slices sitting over here, I can still eat 5 slices. I just had to go to that whole pizza, and I just had to cut it up, right? So if this were real life, I would say, and my friend, maybe I was having my friend eat some pizza. Where would I get the pizza from? Well, there's plenty of pizza sitting right here. I just need to cut it up. And so that's what we did. We cut it up, and we were able to have 8 pieces of this pizza. And then we took 2 of them to add to that 3, and then we ate those. And now we just write down what we have left. Okay, easy peasy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6/8 of a pizza left. So when we subtract from 2 3/8, right, we add this at the start. We ate 1 5/8 of a pizza. This is how much pizza is left over. Let's try another example. All right, so let's do another one. This time I have drawn my cookies because I know that you don't have the same little tools that I have. So I figure we will do the things that I know that you can do on your own paper at home. So I now have 5 whole cookies, and this is 1/4. This is 1/4 of another cookie. Okay, so I'm going to write this down. Okay, 5 and 1/4. Now this time I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to eat 2. I feel like eating 2 whole cookies, but I think I feel like eating 3/4 of another cookie. Okay, so I'm going to start with 5 1/4. Okay, and then I'm going to eat 2 3/4. Now I encourage you to pause the video and think about if this were your drawing. In fact, I'd like you to draw this on your own paper and follow along if you can. Pause it and try doing a little bit and then come back to it and we'll see if you're on the right track. All right, so welcome back, and I hope that you were able to try this a little bit. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to eat these 2. I'm going to cross these off. Okay? And this is where it's important to keep track of your work. So I'm going to cross off 1 cookie. I'm going to cross off 2 cookies. Okay, those cookies are gone. Okay, now I need to eat 3/4. Well, I have a little bit of a problem. I only have 1/4 sitting on my plate, but somehow I've got to find a way to eat 3 of them. So I need to make or cut some more fourths. And the only place I can do that, well, is if I go back to one of these whole cookies and I cut it up. So if I cut this cookie right here, and I'll try to do this as evenly as possible, cut that cookie, and now I have fourths. Okay. Now I want to make sure there's no confusion. Remember, these are gone. Okay. I'll cross those off a little bit differently so they don't look like they're cut into fourths. Now, I cut this cookie into fourths. And so now, well, do I have enough fourths sitting on my plate to take away 3? And the answer is yes. I can definitely take away this 4th, right? So I can get rid of that one. But then I still need to get rid of 2 more, right? So that was 1. I'm going to get rid of this 2 and get rid of this. That's 3. Well, when I do that, you can see that I have crossed off this. I've crossed off these fourths. And now I'm only left right here with 2/4. So the final step here is to write down what I have left. Well, I still have 1, 2 whole cookies, and I now have only 2/4. 2/4 of that cookie. And of course, you may have already recognized it because I know that you are very sharp and you see these things, that these 2/4 is equal to 1/2. So you could have written, instead of 2 2/4, you could have instead written 2 1/2. If you write 2 2/4, that's absolutely correct as well. And there you go. So when you don't have enough on your plate, you need to find a way to get more of those pieces. So when I only had 1/4 here, I needed to get some more fourths, and I had to go into one of those whole cookies and cut it apart. And then I was able to grab enough fourths and eat those.